Well, this is a big one now. TikTok time could be running out. Yesterday, Republicans and Democrats, it's a rarity, working together on the House Energy and Commerce Committee unanimously approved a bill that would give TikTok 180 days to either sever ties with its China-based owner, ByteDance, or be banned from the United States.
The laws in China allow the Chinese Communist Party to compel companies like TikTok to share data with them, whether the companies want to or not.
The basic ownership structure has to change. That's the message we've heard from every single national security official in the Biden administration right now.
TikTok had a message of its own, mobilizing some of its nearly 170 million users to call their members of Congress to object to the legislation. The company argues that the new bill would trample the First Amendment right of American users. Joining us now, U.S. Representative Raja Krishnamoorthi from Greater Chicago. Congressman, thank you for joining us.
Morning. Thank you.
This is remarkable, and then remarkable also that you have a Chinese-owned company talking about First Amendment rights, or just rights in general. But can you take me to just, you know, for the layperson, tell me specifically what I know, but for viewers, what the threat is, and then how serious it is.
Sure. Well, the threat comes in two forms. Let me just step back for a second. So ByteDance is a Chinese company that is beholden and controlled by the Chinese Communist Party. Mm-hmm. ByteDance is the parent of TikTok. And basically, two things are happening with regard to ByteDance's ownership of TikTok that form a threat. One is that they have access to U.S. user data, and they have used that user data to target journalists, among others, who are critical of the company. And they can do this, and they can use that data in other nefarious ways, which is a big threat. The second is that they manipulate the algorithm of TikTok to suppress content, which is critical of the Chinese Communist Party, and amplify content, which is favorable to them. Mm-hmm. And so because of this, we have grave concerns. And as Mike Gallagher, the chair of the committee, said in your segment, every single National Security Administration official in the Biden administration has echoed this concern, and we are acting in a bipartisan way to deal with it.
Yeah, and it's also, I mean, if they can trifle with that, they can certainly trifle once again, and we could see social media trifling with our elections here. Now, this sort of forced sale has happened before. It's not without precedent. The app Grindr at one time tried to link up, not playing on a pun there, but link up with a Chinese company, and it was forced to sell, correct? Successfully.
That's exactly right. What happened was that Grindr was initially acquired by a Chinese company, but because it had so much sensitive data, and as you know, it's an LGBTQ dating site, it had so much sensitive personal data, especially about military and government officials. The Trump administration forced the Chinese company to divest this particular asset, Grindr. And users did not see any change in the user experience. It sold very quickly. It was a very valuable site, and it exists today. The exact same thing would happen with TikTok. Again, this is not a ban. This is a forced divestiture. Right. And just like last time when the Trump administration tried to force the sale of TikTok, many bidders came forward, and we expect the same to happen here too.
Okay, these are important topics. I want two quick questions, quick answers. But it's part of a broader push really on social media companies, like 41 attorneys general, I believe, came out yesterday, kind of dropping the hammer on Meta, saying, listen, you guys offer no customer support. We as law enforcement are not going to be your customer service agents. There is a bigger message here, right? Not just TikTok, but social media in general to have some type of social responsibility.
That's exactly right. I think first of all, that social responsibility starts with respecting people's privacy. Mm-hmm. I'm very concerned about that. Parents are, obviously. And so we need broader privacy rules with regard to data that people entrust with social media apps, whether it's Facebook or X or, in this case, TikTok. The other is that there's so much misinformation on these sites. And unfortunately, the social media sites do not take any responsibility for the veracity of that information because of some loopholes in the law. Those loopholes need to be plugged.
Quickly, your take yesterday on, you're in Washington, D.C. now, on President Biden's speech. I mean, by all accounts, from right and left, he needed to perform. He really needed to perform. Yes. Questions there about, you know, does he even have the acumen anymore? And by all accounts, right and left, he performed last night. Your takeaway in 10 seconds, please.
I think he rose to the occasion. He brought his boxing gloves. He was ready to draw the contrast between his positions and those on the other side and the choices at stake this year, both in Congress and going forward. He was energetic. He was feisty. And I got to tell you, that was one of the most spirited State of the Unions that I've seen in my 8 years in Congress.
Yeah, it was quite remarkable. Always great conversation with you, and I don't think anyone, considering the bipartisan nature of the support with what you're trying to do with TikTok and social media, I think we all applaud your efforts there, at least the tenets of them. Congressman Raja Krishnamoorthi, come on with us again from Illinois' 8th Congressional District. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you, sir.